If you buy filet mignon, you do not want to screw it up. It's a pricey cut of meat and my personal favorite for a splurge-worthy dinner, but cooking it to the proper temperature is key. So today I'm going to share my tips for cooking the best filet mignon, and as a bonus, I'm going to show you how easy it is to make your own homemade compound butter and bearnaise sauce for a restaurant quality steakhouse-style steak. All right, let's dive in. One of the most important things to not forget when cooking any kind of steak is to take it out of the fridge about 30 to 40 minutes before cooking so that it can come to room temperature. This ensures more even cooking, especially on a really thick cut of steak like filet mignon. So I've got two pieces today that are about 8 ounces each, and if you've made my beef tenderloin recipe, the marbling should look familiar because filet mignon is cut from the smaller end of the tenderloin. It's a lean, tender cut of meat, and if you cook it perfectly, like I'm gonna show you today, it seriously just melts in your mouth. So as the steak is coming to room temperature, I'll show you how to prep 2 different toppings today, and the first is bearnaise sauce. Bearnaise is in the same family as hollandaise sauce, but has a shallot and tarragon infused flavor. It's very French and very delicious, and it's often served at fine dining restaurants and high-end steakhouses. And since I consider my kitchen to be a high-end establishment, I'm gonna show you how to make it. You'll start by finely dicing about 2 teaspoons of fresh tarragon leaves, and you can just set those aside for now. Then pick off another tablespoon or so of tarragon leaves, and you can just eyeball it, and those will be used to infuse the white wine and white wine vinegar combo here in a second. When you're done with that, you'll need to finely slice a small shallot. You can use a mandolin if you have one, or just slice it with a knife, it's up to you. Then take the whole tarragon leaves and sliced shallot over to the stove and add a 1/4 cup of dry white wine and a 1/4 cup of white wine vinegar to a small saucepan. Toss in the sliced shallot and the tarragon leaves and then bring this mixture to a boil. Once it's boiling, reduce it to a low simmer and let it simmer for about 5 to 7 minutes or until the liquid has reduced to about 1½ tablespoons worth. Remove it from the stove and strain the infused vinegar through a fine mesh sieve and use the back of a spoon to extract as much flavor as possible into the liquid. Then let this cool for about 5 minutes. And while that's cooling, add 1/2 cup of unsalted butter or ghee to a glass measuring cup and then cover this with plastic wrap. You'll microwave this for 1 minute and the butter will definitely pop and explode in the microwave, and if it's not covered, you're gonna have a big mess to clean up. So do make sure that it's covered. Now grab your Vitamix or other high-powered blender and add 3 egg yolks, 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, the infused vinegar, and a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. And blend this for 5 seconds just to mix it together. Then, with the blender running on medium-high, slowly stream the very hot butter through the top lid cap opening and into the mixture until it's emulsified. This is my foolproof way for making hollandaise, and it works perfectly for this bearnaise sauce as well. Pour the bearnaise sauce into a small bowl and then stir in the finely chopped tarragon. And that's it. This is the easiest, no-fail way to make restaurant-quality bearnaise sauce, and we'll put it to use here in a second. But if you prefer a simple garlic herb compound butter on top of your filet mignon, I have no qualms with that either. To make that, you'll need about 3 tablespoons of finely chopped herbs, and you can use your favorites, whether that's parsley, chives, thyme, rosemary, dill, or even more tarragon. I'm using chives and parsley today, and I'll just finely chop those up. Then you'll need 1/2 cup of room temperature butter, 2 minced garlic cloves, your 3 tablespoons of finely chopped herbs, and 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt. Use a fork to mix that all together until it's well combined, and then add it to a piece of parchment paper or plastic wrap about yay big. Place the butter in a thick line down the middle about 4 inches wide, though it doesn't have to be perfect, and then fold the parchment paper over until the ends meet. Use your fingers to snug the top part of the parchment paper under the butter to create a log. And I just pull back on that top piece until I don't see any more air bubbles or gaps in the butter. Then all that's left to do is roll it up and twist the ends so it's a nice compacted log. Once this is done, chill this for a couple of hours in the fridge until it's firm. All right, now that our topping options are done, let's make some filet mignon. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and you'll need a cast iron or stainless steel pan. Do not, and I repeat, do not use a non-stick pan for this recipe. You'll need to get the pan extremely hot on the stove and then transfer it to the oven, so cast iron or stainless steel are your best options. The fillets should be at room temperature now, so pat them dry with a paper towel to remove any extra moisture, and then season them generously with kosher salt and freshly ground black pepper on all sides. Now, get your empty pan super hot on high heat. It should be so hot that you can barely hold your hand over it. Then add 2 tablespoons of avocado oil or another high heat oil and swirl that around to coat the bottom. Add the steaks to the pan, push them down so there's good contact, and let them sear undisturbed for exactly 2 minutes. Be forewarned that this recipe will smoke, so make sure your vent is on, and don't be startled if your smoke detector goes off, as mine always does. Once they've seared for 2 minutes, they'll have that beautiful golden crust, and then you can flip them onto their sides for another minute to get those edges all nice and golden. And then lastly, you'll flip them on their backside, and as soon as you do this, add about 2 tablespoons of butter to the pan, along with 2 sprigs of rosemary and 2 peeled garlic cloves. Use a large spoon to quickly butter baste the fillets for 1 minute as you tilt the pan, allowing the melted butter to infuse with the herbs and garlic on the bottom side of the pan, and then transfer all of that flavor around the steaks. When your 1 minute is up, and I do recommend setting a timer for each of those flips, transfer your hot pan into the oven. Cook them for a few minutes until they've reached your desired level of doneness, though I'm a medium rare kind of girl, so I'll cook mine until the internal temperature reaches 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Keep in mind that there's carryover cooking while they rest for 5 minutes, and the final serving temperature will be about 125 to 130 degrees Fahrenheit. While my steaks rest, I'll slice up my compound butter that is now nice and firm and get that ready to serve up. And you guys, this compound butter is also amazing on mashed potatoes, baked potatoes, veggies, and so many other things. All right, can we just admire this beauty right here? If you don't want to add any toppings, you can always drizzle the melted garlic herb butter from the pan right on top. That's also delicious. But I always think it's extra special to serve it up with a pat of herbed compound butter for that fresh pop of green while the butter melts. And now for the moment of truth. Let's see how this baby looks on the inside. Oh yeah, it doesn't get much better than that. This fillet has a perfectly seared edge and the middle is an even medium rare. Let me give you a few beauty shots of this one before I serve up the other filet mignon with the bearnaise sauce. Okay, here we go, steak number 2. It's also looking quite gorgeous on the outside, and that drizzle of fresh homemade bearnaise sauce is super luxurious. If you want to impress your special someone for date night, Valentine's Day, their birthday, or any other special day, this is surely the way to do it. And if I slice into this one, you can see that it's also perfectly cooked. And that creamy, herby, elegant bearnaise sauce is the best finishing touch. Now, don't ask me to choose favorites when it comes to these toppings, as I love them both, but the real star of this recipe is obviously the melt-in-your-mouth, super tender filet mignon. You guys, this is seriously the best filet mignon recipe. I may not eat a ton of red meat, but when I do, I sure make it count. I hope you guys loved today's video, and if you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, comment below which topping you would choose, and I will see you again in the next video.